If you've been watching videos on the Pixel 6 trying to get a pulse on whether or not this is the phone to buy, you may have noticed that the videos about the Pixel 6 published so far don't get very in-depth. Everything so far is pretty surface level, whether it's an unboxing and maybe some first impressions of the hardware. And when you do see a phone turned on in these videos, you'll notice that you don't really see anything other than the home screen. This isn't because creators are getting lazy, it's because Google has a double embargo in place right now with creators and journalists, and it's created a bit of drama with a number of YouTubers. On the day of the Pixel 6 announcement, Mr. Who's the Boss, who is one of the biggest tech YouTubers on the platform, tweeted out in protest saying he will not be covering the Pixel 6 that day and points to an embargo that he presumably agreed to, which limits what he can say. If you're not familiar with an embargo, it's when a company works with the media to give them some advanced information or even a product before launch. But in order to receive that product or information, the media must agree not to say anything about it until a certain date and time. This is why you'll sometimes hop onto YouTube and your entire subscription feed is covering one product. It's because all of these creators got the product in advance, they had their videos ready to publish, and they were just waiting until the earliest time that they were allowed to publish. But this isn't what has creators like Mr. Who's the Boss all heated up. Instead of a normal embargo, Google is doing what's called a double embargo, and that is where you have two dates. After the first date, the media can only cover certain aspects of the product, and it's not until the second date that the full reviews can come out. Mr. Who's the Boss recently teamed up with MKBHD to do a really well done video that I'll link to down below, and it outlines the various ways that tech companies manipulate the media, and one of those ways is going through double embargoes. This is an actual screenshot of the embargo that myself and many other creators have agreed to, and you can see that despite Google publicly announcing the Pixel 6 on October 19th, we have to wait to post our full thoughts on the phone. So for 6 full days, the only thing we can do is post pictures and videos of the phone, unboxings, or first impressions of the hardware. And other than the home screen, we can't show anything else on camera until the embargo date. In a nutshell, Google says no reviews until the 25th. So this is where the criticism comes in. It's very plausible to say that this is Google's way of manipulating the media to get us to spread out the coverage of the Pixel 6. I personally don't doubt that that's part of this strategy. The more serious critiques involve the fact that Google isn't allowing media to review the software publicly until a week after the launch date. Is Google hiding something? Is the software super buggy and they need more time to push out updates before the 25th? This could look like an attempt by Google to get a bunch of largely positive / neutral coverage while pre-orders just keep piling up. And then after everyone unloads all their negative, reviews about the Pixel 6, it's too late for consumers and they're stuck with a crappy Pixel phone. Now, this is also reasonable to assume, and as shown in that video from Mr. Who's the Boss and MKBHD, tech companies have done that in the past. They legit did not want the software to be demoed because they knew it was buggy. With all of this said, keep in mind that even if creators on TeamPixel don't agree to the embargo, Google is still going to send out the phone to them after the embargo date. So it's not like Google's holding a free phone hostage, and if you don't agree, no phone for you. Also consider that Google did this last year as well, which leads me to think it's less of a Google is hiding something kind of thing and a lot more of a Google's looking to squeeze out a little bit of extra coverage kind of thing. Now, to contrast all of this, Brandon from This Is Tech Today tweeted out a really good thread similar to a lot of thoughts that I've had defending aspects of the embargo. Brandon points out that what Google is doing here is making reviews much more equitable. Historically, and still today for many big brands, only the biggest handful of creators we all know get early access, which means they get to review the product before everybody else. And if you're a new creator getting into this space, it's very difficult to compete with that. By the time you get your phone 3 weeks later after launch, you then have to spend another week or so to, spend time with the phone and review it. By that time, you don't have near the amount of interest in your review, and the big OG creators continue to get bigger. The way Google is doing it now is you still have your group of top tier creators who I imagine get their hands on this phone well before launch. And these creators are well established. They are people Google can trust to not leak out information before launch. Then they have TeamPixel, which I am a part of, and it is their group of smaller creators. And this group is getting bigger and bigger by the year. All of these creators, like myself, got their phone after Google announced the Pixel 6. So while we don't have the same advantage of someone like MKBHD, who was able to publish an unboxing the second Google announced the phone, we are on a much more even playing field when it comes to pushing out full reviews and hands-on demonstrations. To me, this benefits the consumer more than Google. I don't know how far in advance these top tier creators got their Pixel 6 phones, but I can say that we see too often creators getting a phone and the next day posting what they call a comprehensive review of the phone. Like, come on, like you need more time for a device that's complex as a smartphone. You need more time than one day to actually call it a review. So by forcing creators to hold back their thoughts and continue to spend more time testing, this should help increase the accuracy of reviews that get published. And if anybody's being dishonest here, it's the media members who have agreed to this embargo, and they are publishing these essentially first impression videos, but they call them reviews, and they're giving Google a bunch of positive marks on areas that they didn't even talk about in the video. So the conspiracy that Google just wants positive reviews right now is not true, because Google has stated they want no reviews. I'll link to some of the hot takes in the description below, but let me know what you think about all of this and if you think some creators have a point or if they're just being petty. And to clarify, I am not suggesting Mr. Who's the Boss is being petty. I actually look really forward to his side of the story, which he said he's going to publish next week. But I do see creators on TeamPixel who have a Pixel 6 in their hands. They have virtually no following, and they're acting like divas on Twitter, complaining about the embargo. Look, I spent years on my other channel publishing videos on the Google Pixel that sometimes even got into the millions of views, and not once did I ever get anything from Google. So with all of the potential flaws of how they may be going about this, let's just appreciate what Google's trying to do here and be grateful that we got a kick-ass phone for free. Allegedly kick-ass, allegedly. If you want to see me unbox this Pixel 6 Pro right here in just 39 seconds, I've got you covered with a video right here. Enjoy.